Welcome to another episode of Church After Hours. This is episode 7, y'all. And as we always do about this time, we do a quick recap of our most recent episode. And this past Sunday, shout out to our beautiful mothers. It was episode 6, as we had an opportunity to sit down with our mothers, Miss Vicky and Miss Joyce. And it was a great episode. Kurt, what did you think about the episode, man?
Oh man, I thought the energy was amazing. It's one thing for the people to see us and see who we are, but I think once they got to see our mothers, our personality really came out, and they got to see, how authentic we are.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And my favorite part of that whole episode was at the end when it was just super freestyle. When your mom came on camera and they was joking and just having a good time and talking about their past and where they're from. Like everybody seemed to love that episode. So I'm excited to see what tonight's episode bring, because this is the last person that we had to bring in before this podcast can continue, and that's our brother all the way out in Denver, California, Mr. Anthony Trail. What's going on, family? How you feeling?
What's up, man? But I think it's Denver, Colorado, baby.
What did I say?
Denver, California.
Did I? All right.
But I'm close to there, though.
You close to there? Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Ant. This is episode 7. Everybody's been anticipating you making your debut on the podcast, man. What has been your thoughts on the podcast thus far?
Oh, my thoughts are this could have never came out sooner. It's lovely seeing, how everybody's progressed and where they are, and to see the simple fact that it's been 25 plus years and we all still intact like it was 25 years ago.
Absolutely. I totally agree, man. It's been 25 plus years. Like you said, everybody's doing well and everybody's moving forward in life. And let's get into it, man. When you talk about Church After Hours in this podcast, and we always start off with the first question, it's kind of like the origin story into the crew. When you first came to Lincoln Heights, well, you was in Lincoln Heights before myself. You was, on Bird Street. So I want you to talk about that and then talk about when you came.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a Bird Street cat. But he left, and then he ended up coming back with his big cousin, Barry. And that's when we met you, when you came back to Wayne Avenue. So talk about your genesis in Lincoln Heights and how you ended up coming back with us on Wayne Avenue.
Well, Barry, as y'all know, Bonds, that's a big cousin. I knew him first, you know what I'm saying? His mom and her sister were good friends with my mom. And so we would hang out, and when it was time to go to church, we went to church on Bird, and I remember used to standing outside waiting to just get in that little church.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was always rocking, and then, it was always saying, the new church is getting built, So then I moved to Forest Park, and when I moved to Forest Park, it was really, with my mom, I would come to church with my mom. I hung with Barry, and then we went to church, youth choir. I don't even remember how I met, like how we intertwined, but because it seemed like I just knew you for like all my life.
Right.
And so then, like I said, then it was just hanging out on Wayne Street at the big church, you know what I'm saying? And youth choir, then it went from there. Retreats, youth lock-ins, and then pregame. We had pregame for choir rehearsal at my house. On the way to the church for choir rehearsal. Right. And then it's just, now we in 2022. You know what I'm saying? So
and before I throw it to Kurt, and just to talk about pregame, and Kurt talked about last week how I was the first one to start driving outside of Roger. So when we would go to choir rehearsal, Ant was the last stop before we got to church, because he stayed in Revere Village, you know what I'm saying, right there behind BP. So as soon as we got him, and we got our pregame on, we was headed right to 9991 Wayne Avenue. But go ahead, Kurt. So he is absolutely correct. Man, that's bringing back memories, man.
We were in Fairfield. We passed Forest Fair Mall, which was Forest Park, Fairfield, Forest Fair Mall.
Yep.
Everybody remember how historic that mall was. And we would cross right over, come up. What is that, Winton?
Absolutely, Winton Road.
Come up Winton, make a left, pick Ann up, and then, go on straight down to 747. Boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? A left and a right, and we was in the Heights for sure.
Absolutely.
would. Going to choir
Now,
rehearsal, packed
you
up.
talked about when you first came with Barry, when you came back to Wayne Avenue. Talk about the importance of youth ministry and youth choir and a lot of the activities that Miss Juanita and Reverend Pipers had us doing, man. We've had a chance to hear everybody's take on that, but I want to hear your take and what it meant to you to be a part of the youth ministry in Lincoln Heights at that time, as a young, formidable young man.
Well, for one, we weren't out doing knucklehead stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we was together, and the platform that they had made it just a different upbringing for young Black teenagers, and
Right.
it also focused. It had a God-centered focus as well to keep us grounded in a higher being, a more power that's greater than us. So we learned how to basically, we learned how to love, like through all that, like being with all our peoples and everything, and they showed us how to love others, and that's what I got from it, that I was able to take on in the later years of my life, is try to be the best loving human being, individual I can be.
Right. And it's funny you said that, because that's what Miss Juanita was all about, man. She was teaching us how to tap into loving self, because when you love yourself, it's difficult for you to treat other people in a horrible way.
That's correct.
You want the best for your brothers just like you want the best for yourself. And I think that was very crucial when you talk about steering committee meetings. Like, they gave us a voice. Yep. Steering committee, and I know people have heard me use that word. Steering committee meetings was a group of young people, a group of young leaders that they picked out that would basically advocate for young people in the church, the things that we needed, the things that we wanted, the things that we thought were important. So when it came time to go on retreats, we planned out the whole retreat ourselves, who we wanted to be speakers. We had, youth speakers. Marcus would speak. I would speak. Cats like Lionel and Marco would speak. Like, we would plan out our whole trip and our whole weekend, and they put us in a leadership position. And you are absolutely correct with the self-love and teaching us how to be there for ourselves and for each other. And Miss Juanita was so instrumental in that. She saw so much in us. I always say she saw more in us than we saw in ourselves a lot of time.
Correct.
Hey, it's funny that you say that, because a day ago, my mom she's still talking about the episode, but she was telling me that she still has this letter that I wrote to her at a retreat, and she said, I just gotta find it. I just, I know I got it in here somewhere. And I remember that Miss Juanita headed up though that letter writing, right? And she thought it was to your mother, but in all actuality, it was to the most important person in your life, as I remember that. And that was correct.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's funny you said that, because I just shared my letter with the group chat, how I found it.
Thought about that.
She gave it back. She gave them back to us at our reunion, which was in 2013. So almost 10 years ago, she gave us our letters, and sitting there reading it as now a 44, about to be 45-year-old adult male was crazy, because a lot of stuff that I spoke into my life ended up coming to fruition. So I think as the season ends, if everybody can find theirs, I will definitely share my letter, because I think it's powerful and it shows why those type of activities are important. But we're going to take a pause for the cause right now, because everybody loves the Holy Hustle, aka our other segment, Sinners and Saints. And I want to get into a Sinners and Saints story. This one doesn't include any of us in the crew, but it does include some family members and people that are close to us. Now, we was famous, Lincoln Heights was famous for concerts. And everybody know Dr. Charles Fold, Grammy Award-winning gospel artist, was our minister of music. And they will have the adult choir concert every year. So when we started doing concerts as a youth choir, we had to raise our level of excellence to their level, because we wanted people to, kind of look at us in the same light. So to make a long story short, the night before our concert, Hope of the World, we had the blue t-shirts with the yellow writing. It was tension in the choir. And I don't know what it is. Every church, every choir I've ever been a part of or worked with, is always tension in the alto section. So I'm gonna say my sisters' names, because I love them both, and they can both look back on this and laugh. But my sister Carla Moore, aka Mitch and Diane's daughter, was about to scrap with Barry's cousin. And we in the fellowship hall getting ready to go up and sing and do our thing. And they in there about to scrap. So Reverend Pipers comes in and gets wind of it. He said, look, the church is packed. It's like 3,000 people upstairs in the sanctuary.
Man.
He's like, look, I will go upstairs. And I know Reverend Pipe, again, this is another story he can look at and laugh because he know I ain't lying. He said, I will go upstairs and tell all them people to go home. He said, y'all deal with it yourself. All the adults left. Eric Wofford left. Reverend Piper left. So we had to bring them two together to squash this beef, or else we wasn't about to have no concert. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't stand each other. Like, it was so much beef, but we talked it out. They aired their differences. They shared why they didn't like each other and why they was, ready to bang. And, they hugged it up. They pieced it up. And we told Reverend Pipers it was all love. And we went up there and we did our thing. But it just goes to show you, like, sometimes you could be in the trenches with somebody that's like family members and you just don't always get along. And sometimes you got to squash those beefs, even if doing something in the name of the Lord. And that's what happened. And we end up having a great concert. And I love the fact that Reverend Pipers trusted us enough to handle it ourselves and not always have to have adults trying to diffuse situations. And that was just a great moment. And like I said, it was a great night. And we were able to, settle some differences, and people was able to show more love moving forward because I was able to, they was able to voice why they didn't like each other, and they pieced it up, and the rest is history, man. So I just thought that was a dope story showing how we overcame as young people and how we were able to handle our own situations without adult intervention all the time.
Agreed.
I think I know that Reverend Pipers at that time was moving on another plane than a lot of people were. And just like our podcast that we're trying to bring people along, he was bringing people along. Right. So he knew that the threat of sending them 3,000 people home, which all these choir members have worked so hard to prepare for, it wasn't no sweat off his brim, I'm sure. Right. Because he's had bigger things that he's walked away from. Once again, like we talked about, he was supposed to be in that deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I met my baby at the Bang Bang Shoot 'em Up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right.
That's why and I got to slide it in. That's why he couldn't tell them 3,000 people. He was still getting his holy hustle on.
I don't know about it.
I love Red,
That's my guy.
He was genuine. He was genuine in his holiness. You know what I mean?
Yes,
but
he was.
But a lot of people had to catch up though.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to talk about a time in your life that was a sad moment, but looking back on it, it wasn't sad. It was something that needed to happen. It was very necessary. And this is where I think me and you got really close. And it was in 1995, my senior year. And Miss Joy hit us with a bomb. She said, Ed, we got to move. We moving to Milwaukee. I got this job. Kind of like how my dad got that job at P&G. I can't pass this up. We got to go. And it was so funny because I felt like God placed us in each other's lives because I was able to help walk you through this process that I had just went through 3-4 years ago when we moved from Chicago to Cincinnati. And the same way me and my grandmother tried to finagle and get me to stay, me and you and your grandparents tried to finagle your mom to get you to stay in Cincinnati. So Miss Joy, she was going along with it. That summer, she said, you can stay here for the summer with D parents. And, we would go and visit his grandparents on the weekend. But talk about how moving to Wisconsin and you abruptly got snatched out of the crew and how that affected you, man, because we missed you, bro. Like, for real. Like, at that time, my brother and Kurt was still in high school. They was coming to Wright State, kicking it with us. And you was, 3-4 hours away in Milwaukee. So talk about those years, man.
Well, those years when I left was like, that summer was it was the hardest. It was one of the hardest things that I had to complete in my, my life. And as at a young age, but moving away from where I grew up, like going into my junior year at Wynwood, shout out to the Warriors, you know what I'm saying? But I was, pretty much established and moving along, and it just to get uprooted like that, it was so hard. Like I was like, Mom, just let me finish out live 2 years with D and them.
She wasn't having it.
and it was funny. Your parents was cool with it. They was
my parents was like, he can stay. Because you think about it, I was going to college, so my room was wide open. You could have had my spot. My parents were cool.
I mean, that's what I was.
Your grandparents only lived 30 minutes away in Xenia, so it was perfect. But Miss Joy was like, nah, you got to go with your brother. Same thing my parents told me.
Yeah. She was like, she told me, she said, you know, behind closed doors, she's like, you either going with your daddy or you going with me. And so it was like, well, I'm gonna go with my mama.
Right.
When I left that last time when I drove out to church and I was leaving and I had to go, you know, go back to Ohio. That was one of the hardest cries I've ever cried in my life, man, leaving. And then when I went to Wisconsin, it was just, I just had the memories and the times that we had, and we never, you know, we were still calling each other on, you know, from landline phones. We didn't have cell phone. You know,
running bills up.
Yeah, bills for real.
Running bills
for real.
up.
Like making phone calls. Like, okay, you can only call Cincinnati or whatever 3 times a week, whatever. But it, you know, I was making phone calls back to the house, checking like what I missed. You know,
right.
Y'all throwing parties.
Alexander Graham Bell done made a mint off us, didn't he?
Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all throwing parties. I'm missing the throwing, you know, being at the parties.
I never thought about it.
Yes.
Man.
That's cold. And I'm just going to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it all the way 100. Ant would have been in a spot of somebody that was probably dead weight on ASAD.
Oh, absolutely. 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 Just the fact of where he went to school at, the people that he would have tapped into to get them to that party. Man. And we still had some of them there, but still he would have been instrumental in bringing that faction of Forest Park and Wentwoods people to the parties for sure. For sure. Oh, yeah. And here's the even funnier part when you think about the whole thing. Like, no social media, no cell phones. And it's funny how we always say smartphones make us dumber. Like, it's hard for me to remember phone numbers now. But I still remember Ant's phone number in Milwaukee. Like, I still remember it in my head today. I think Miss Joy still got it, so I'm not gonna say it, but it just goes to show you like how dedicated we was to remembering these things and making sure we stayed in contact and in touch with each other, even though we didn't have, you know, the internet and cell phones and things of that nature. So it was very, very important.
Just like I remember your parents' phone number. It was 829, right?
Yep. They still got it. They still got it.
I'm gonna stop there.
Exactly.
But you know what's aligning right now in my mind is something your mother said last week that about the concert that we were rehearsing from when Jay fell asleep. Yes. She said Kurt was still in the choir at that time. And that jogged my memory. And I said, man, okay. I stopped, you know, participating in the choir and going to church when Dee went to college. You know what I'm saying? And
think about it like that.
And on top of that, just like my Aquarian brother just said, his junior year he moved. Being at Fairfield and seeing all my brothers being wronged and knowing I had a gift, you know, my junior year, I moved.
He left. Ooh, I didn't think about that. Wow.
I came home and told my mother, I said, I'm never going back to that school, ever. Ever. You know, I had got into it with one of the coaches. My mind just went left.
Yes, but, it's all good.
I got into it with one of the coaches, and I was just like, you know, they don't even care about us. Why am we out here playing a physical game in football? So, you know, I got on to Princeton and, you know, met a lot of different people and started hanging out with some different cats. And we all know, you know, the type of things that, you know, I was doing, but I strayed from the church. You know what I mean? And I had some brushes with the law and with some other things that exactly what we talked about, the church was keeping us out of. And that made me think about that.
Let's stay right there for a minute because and that's why I love having these. That's why I love the podcast and I love having these conversations live versus having a pre-production and talking about everything we go talk. Like this just happened organically, and you really hit something. 95 was a crucial year. Me and Barry graduate. I go to Wright State. He go to Wright State. Ant moves to Milwaukee. You move and go to Princeton, and it's like. It was like kind of like Wu-Tang breaking up. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was kind of going in their opposite directions, but yet and still, we still stayed connected. We may not have been as close because we were in different places. You and my brother, of course, wasn't going to school together no more. And then Anna's, you know, like I said, 3-4 hours away in Wisconsin, and me and Barry's 45 minutes up in Dayton. So, like, wow, I really never thought about it that way. Like, 95 was a year of transition and a year of movement for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Wow. So let's get into a fun story, man. I got another fun story, and I'm just letting you know I got to throw one of my brothers under the bus, and I ain't gonna tell him until I tell my story. But I'm gonna yield the floor to y'all if y'all got a good one y'all want to tell, man, before we get ready and shut it down for the night.
I got a story. I remember when it was that summer. We did basically what was the BET videos.
I've been waiting on this story. Shout out to Barry and Miss O'Connor for having cameras, and then Kurt and Ronnie had cameras as well. So that whole summer
y'all
made
talking
videos.
about when we had the camera.
Yes.
When we had the camera the weekend, my cousins was down.
Yes. Go ahead.
Man,
You gotta tell this story, bro.
And we was like, shoot, we doing every video, every hot song that's out.
Yeah, we did.
And we did. And remember, it was.
Remember when it started raining?
That's what I was going to. Emotions make you cry sometimes.
I didn't know you was gonna go there. Go ahead.
Yes, I already knew.
Because that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we did every number one hit, you know what I'm saying, from Brown Sugar, my man Moody was D'Angelo.
Hey, that was funny. Like, hold on, I gotta pause
my cousin Donnell did Big Papa.
Oh man.
Yeah. But go ahead and tell the one we did in the rain. Go ahead and tell the story, bro.
Man. And we was like we trying to get all the livest, the best shots in history. And it really started raining. And we was like, oh, we got the perfect chance. We got the perfect chance. We did about 28 takes in the rain. What video did we do? Emotions?
No, we did.
No, we did
Jodeci.
Jodeci.
Yes,
man, Bonds loved the Jodeci.
And Bonds was Jodeci.
Barry loved Devontae Swing.
That was his guy.
He was young Devontae.
Ed, you mentioned my brother doing D'Angelo. Remember, that was his. Like, my brother, he wore that Brown Sugar album out. Like, that was his favorite album. And we was in my parents' basement, and he had like an ironing board, like the keyboard. And he had us with incense with smoke going across the camera. Hey, man, I was crying tears.
He did that.
He had the glasses on and everything. And then I gotta get Ed. He did the Usher Think of You video on my parents' back deck. And Bonds was sitting in the chair like he was Jermaine Dupri. Hey, them was classic moments, bro.
I'm talking about before
moments.
And that just, you know, it's funny moments, but that just go to show you what type stuff we was on.
Instagram, absolutely.
Instagram.
Right, before.
We were doing Instagram videos before. Videos.
Man.
Right.
Come on, man.
Right.
But that was my story, man.
Hey, that was classic. I've been waiting on. I'm like, somebody go tell that story. That was a classic one right there. We used to make videos. Kurt, what you got for me, man? You got something for me today?
Man, I don't want to step on the feet of your story. I got a feeling that Ant in the red car.
Yes.
I thought we wasn't saying no names.
Oh yeah, I said
no. And is here on camera.
It wasn't red. It was like a hot pink.
It was a hot fuchsia pink.
Fuchsia pink.
I thought it was
Shout
red.
out to Convertible.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ed's grandfather, Mr. Schultz, aka Pawpaw. Rest in peace.
Yes, sir. Rest in peace, Pawpaw.
I yield the floor to you, my brother.
Okay. Again, this is 95. And it's about to move, so we kick you that whole summer. And my mom, I gotta correct you, Mom. When you watch this, you go laugh. Y'all did have to get one of us out of jail one time, and it was this day.
I thought about that when she said that. That's the first thing my mom went to.
So we go to Barry's crib. Bond's crib was always the spot we hit right after church. We can go kick it, wine, you know what I'm saying, get some snacks, whatever. So everybody there
Oh,
chilling with a little.
You said what? We wine? Did you say wine?
Unwind.
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 Oh,
Unwind.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we at Barry
church
crib.
after hours.
Right. So we at Barry crib kicking it. Everybody got their little lady friend kicking or whatever. So Ant got the hot Fuchsia Capri. It was a Capri. He got the drop top.
Who made
Mercury.
the Capri?
It was Mercury.
It was a Mercury Capri.
Capri.
It was a Mercury Capri. I'm gonna find a picture so you can put in here.
Yeah.
So I'm in the Camry, he in the Capri. Just like I was showing out going to Oxford, he's showing out in the Capri because he got a lady in there with him. You know what I'm saying? He in Lincoln Heights. All I know is he flexed past me. Here come them boys. Whoop! Come pull him over.
We can't say who he had with him. We really can't.
No, we can't say who we had with him. They know.
We really can't. He
right.
said we really can't.
Are you sure?
So they pulled my man over. So of course I got to stop and make sure they don't hurt my brother. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he didn't have his seatbelt on for sure. No. I don't know why they took him in. I don't know if he didn't have his license on him or something. But they took him to the Lincoln Heights police station. So we followed him down there, and they put him in a holding cell. We like,
for real,
man, like we can't call Xenia, man. Aunt's grandparents gonna go crazy. They gonna go berserk, man. They gonna mess around and impound their car. So what do? Shout out to Reverend Pipers. He was a mega pastor, but he stayed in the hood where his church was at. He didn't live out in the suburbs. His house was right around the corner from the church. So I said, look, man, I'll go right to Reverend Pipers' house. I said, look, they got Ant locked up. He was speeding. You know what I'm saying? We need you to come and try to get him out. Say no more. He jumped right in his car, come down there, make a long story short. He talked to the officers. They let him out. He told us, he said, y'all drive right home to Mr. and Mrs. Morgan house and y'all shut it down for the day. We was like, yes, sir. So Mom, you was wrong. One of us did get locked up.
I think her exact
words.
With the Buffalo Wild Wings after that.
Yeah.
What was you about to say, Kurt?
Her exact words was, we didn't have to go to jail to get anybody, but we did.
We did.
Go to jail to get somebody.
Shout out to Reverend Pipers. He came through and got my man out, and we went
did.
right back to the crib after that, man. Classic.
If Reverend Pipers out, he said, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, I'm going to jail. I'm riding around Lincoln Heights in a Fuchsia pink convertible, speed. You know what I'm saying?
Like, hey, you was Cameron before Cameron with the pink range. I'm telling you, man.
That's right.
That was classic, bro. Oh, that was classic. So we have come to the end, man. Like we in every podcast, we always talk about those formidable years and what did you learn from going to Lincoln Heights and youth committee that has helped you now in your life as a full-grown adult?
Well, what helped me is I'll piggyback from earlier. What I said is it just taught me, how to love everybody, not just one single person, because, we're all human. And that's what, the committee taught me. We're all human and nobody is better than the other. So, one thing is, we had to help the servitude. The servitude of it, I got that strong from that, and that's helped me as I'm 40. Am I 40? Dang, I ain't want to disclose all that, but yeah,
you 43, ain't you?
40,
I'm about to say,
yeah,
stop
I'm
playing.
43.
Yeah, I'm 42. I know I'm the youngest, so I'm like, yeah, baby.
Right.
I'm 43, so as the sun has set, you know what I'm saying, where I'm at. But
definitely set, yeah.
But but that's what it's taught me. It's taught me how to love others and be a man of, try to be the best man I can be, and be grateful for today. So
absolutely,
because you only had one chance to do anything. So
that's real. That's real. Well, hey man, we hope y'all enjoyed episode 7 of Church After Hours. This was the last crew member we had to get on the podcast, and keep rocking with us. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. CW Kareem Productions, Church After Hours podcast on Instagram, and please share it with a friend or relative, man. And we'll see y'all next week. Church After Hours. Peace.
And out.